Well, good afternoon. Got a special treat for today. We are going to be doing some ribs. First step we got to do for these ribs though is we got to drain off this water that it's packaged in, all nasty stuff, rinse them off, and then we're going to season them up and get them ready for cooking tomorrow. And then a little closer, and you can see I'm going to cut the bag with the dullest knife you can find, because that makes it fun. So I like to just take it and just hold it with that plastic and just drain it. Get that nasty stuff out. Yeah. Ooh. A little squirrely. Alright, so get rid of your packaging and use cold water. We're going to rinse this meat off. Now the reason that we're going to rinse this is because the packaging that they use, they put different little things in there as preservatives, not heavy duty preservatives, but it's not something that you want to keep on your meat. So, we just give it a good quick rinse, like so. Drip dry that a little bit. Ooh. Okay, now, next thing. Have your seasoning ready. I like to use the Grill Mates barbecue seasoning. Now that's not an endorsement of any kind, that's just what I like. Give it a good, oh, helps if you open it. You gotta love these little flaps that they put on here. Sometimes they can be a booger to get, but there we go. And hey, it's better anyway because it's wide open now. We're good to go. So we'll get that sprinkled real generously. I mean, you know, a lot of times I'll see people, they go to put some seasoning on something and it just doesn't look like it's seasoned at all. Rub that in. Just get angry with it. Get violent. Well, not too violent. Love your meat. All right, so we're gonna flip it over. We're going to get that inside. Oh yeah. Now a lot of people may not think that doing the inside portion here, which doesn't really have a lot of meat on top, is going to help at all with the seasoning. But you would really be surprised. Anywhere that there is a seasoning part touching this meat, once it comes off of the grill, you're going to taste it all the way over. So you want to have it fully coated, like so. Look how that turned colors. Look at that. That's beautiful. Oh yeah, love that. Now, if you don't like that much seasoning, don't do that much seasoning. That's personal preference, but that's what we like here. So, all we got to do now is wait. What we're going to do is I'm going to get everything ready. We're going to pause this video, and we're going to bag this up, or we're going to put it into a container, put it in the refrigerator, and get it ready so we can have it tomorrow. We have our bowl, well, old school Pyrex, but it's just long enough that it's going to fit our ribs right inside. I like to just use one hand because I want to keep the other one without pork's juices on it. So I got to rinse that off a little bit. We'll clean out that sink in a moment. Okay, aluminum foil, everyone's best friend, if you can get it out. Alright, just take some of that. It doesn't have to be very, very tight, but you want it to have a good seal because this is going to go in your refrigerator overnight. Now technically what we're doing here is considered to be a dry rub. Anytime that you put a seasoning on a meat and you don't add a liquid of any kind, of course, it's going to be considered a dry rub. So, if you like dry rubs, like I do, simplest thing that you can do. Experiment with your seasonings. Try different things. Find out what you like for what type of meat that you like. Personally, like I said, that barbecue seasoning with pork is great. Generally, if I'm going to do pork, I like to have something that's going to have a little bit of sweetness to it, or possibly some sort of a garlic tint to it, but that's personal preference. If you like something better, hey, let me know in the comments. All right, we're going to put this in the fridge, and we'll be back with you tomorrow to show you how to do the grill. Okay, now we get to the fun part. This is where we get to try to get our grill ready. Now, a lot of people do this a lot of different ways. Some people use gas, some people use charcoal. I'm one of those guys. I like charcoal, but if you'll come with me, if you look in here, I have these baskets. Now what these do is those hold my charcoal, and that allows me to keep my heat circulating within this kettle. Now, the other reason that this is open is because that's where my chimney is going to go. Now the easy part to do all of this, set your chimney over to the side. I'm going to use these flame cubes. You can use newspaper, whatever you prefer, but I like to just pop out a couple of these. They burn really efficiently. And those are just going to sit right here, right there in the middle, just like that. Then we take our charcoal, whichever brand you like, of course. I'm going to get that filled up really well. Now you don't have to have it up over the top. You may want to use less, you may want to use more, depending on what you're doing, but I'm going to go with a full load. Now, those ladder cubes that we put in there, we're going to go ahead and light those. Now you see what I said about them burning like that? And then we'll just take our chimney and place right over the top. Alright, we'll be back with you. I'll be back in just a moment. Once these get going real well, we'll check on them and we'll take it from there and show you the rest of the grill prep. It's looking good. Okay, now what we're going to want to do is, you see these two handles right here. These are going to help you balance this and make it easier to handle. You're just going to hold on that and pour these into those baskets. Always be careful when dealing with any sort of fire. Spread those out as evenly as you can get them. If some fall in the middle, that's okay. That's extra heat. Now if you'll notice down on the bottom here where I've set everything, I know it's dirty, but that's a grill mat. What that does is that helps protect us from the fire. It keeps anything from getting on fire. I'm going to move those pieces around a little bit with my handy dandy piece of steel here. Just going to kind of move those around. And I'm going to move these to the edges. That way that my heat still creates a convection around there, but I don't want any heat right in the center because my ribs are going to sit right here on top. Now what we got to take our grill, put that right there. Look at that. Now see, our ribs are going to be sitting right here in the middle, and that way we don't have any heat directly under them because we don't want them to cook too fast, but they're going to be surrounded with heat. So what we do now is we put the lid on and we wait for that to get heated up, and then we'll be able to put on our ribs. Okay, so we've got our pit good and hot. So we're going to take that lid off. Carefully, of course. And I've taken my ribs, wrapped them in foil, just like that. And see how they're going to sit right there in the middle, right in between those beautiful little grates. Yeah, looking good, looking good. Alright, so we're going to put the lid on here. Alright, so now our 30 minutes have passed, and it's time for us to check on our ribs. Let's take a look. Alright, we've got to open up that foil. Hot. Oh, look at that. We're going to take our tongs, right up under here. Oh, that's looking wonderful. So what we're going to do, we're going to slip our tongs back under here, lift them over, and take whatever kind of barbecue sauce that you happen to like. I'm just using some that I picked up today, and spread generously. Now the reason that we're going to do the bottom first is because it's going to go with this side down. Now, like we've talked about before, there's not a lot of meat on the bottom side of the ribs, it's more to the top, but this just adds to that flavor. So we'll take our tongs, we're going to flip it right back over again. Just like that. Grab our barbecue sauce, add a bit more to the top here, and again spread generously. Make sure you get all those little crevices. Oh yeah, that's looking great. Almost like a painter. You want it to cover the entire thing, just like that. We're going to put the lid back on. Alright, now we're going to let that go for about another 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to check it in 10, see how it looks, because the ribs are looking like they're pretty well done already. So what we're really wanting to do is just to get that sauce time to kind of cure on the meat. Alright, so we'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so our time is up. Look at that. See how that color really comes out. That's what we were looking for. Now it's time to bring it in. So we grab our tongs, slip those up under there, put those on a pan. Now I'm going to bring this in and let it rest for 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll be cutting it up. Alright, so we've let them rest for 3 or 4 minutes. Now what we want to do is we're going to cut these up, but we're going to flip them over first. The reason for that is you can see bones there, and that makes it easier to line up to cut. Just like that. Alright, now that we have them cut, I'm just going to kind of lay them over like this a little bit. Doesn't that look good? We take our sauce and add just a bit over the top. Take our handy dandy little brush. Just going to kind of brush that in. Just dab it a little bit. Just to add that extra little flavor right there.